Look in the mirror tomorrow morning. Really look. Run your hand through your hair, or what's left of it, and ask yourself a question almost no one ever asks. Why is this happening? Not the medical why, not the it runs in my family why, the deeper why. Because somewhere along the line, in the long, strange journey of human evolution, our ancestors, who were covered head to toe in thick protective fur, decided, or rather their bodies decided for them, to start losing it. First from the body, then for a huge percentage of men from the top of the head. And it's worth pausing on how bizarre that actually is. Every other primate on the planet keeps its hair. Chimps don't go bald. Gorillas don't develop receding hairlines. Orangutans don't quietly panic in their 40s about a thinning crown. Only humans do this. Only us. And it raises a question that sounds funny on the surface, but gets stranger the longer you sit with it. Why on earth would evolution, which is ruthless and efficient and doesn't do anything by accident, design a creature that slowly removes the hair from its own head? Stick with me, because the answer is older, weirder, and more revealing about who we are than you'd ever expect. Let's kill the first assumption right away. The idea that baldness is some kind of modern malfunction, a glitch caused by stress or pollution or shampoo or sitting too close to screens. It isn't. Ancient skulls, cave art, mummies, ancient statues, they all show the same thing. Men were going bald thousands of years ago. The Egyptians wrote about it. The Greeks obsessed over it. Hippocrates himself, the father of medicine, was reportedly bald and tried desperately to cure it. So this isn't new. This is ancient, which means whatever is causing it has been baked into the human story for a very, very long time. And that changes the question entirely. It's not what broke, it's what was this for? To understand that, we have to go back, way back, to the moment our ancestors started shedding their fur in the first place. Because before the bald head, there was the bald body. Somewhere between 1 and 3 million years ago, our ancestors began losing the thick coat of hair that every other ape still wears. And the leading theory is beautifully simple. It's about heat. Our ancestors had left the shaded forest and walked out into the open savanna. They were hunting now, running, chasing prey across hot, open ground under a brutal African sun. And fur, it turns out, is a terrible thing to wear when you're trying to run down an antelope in 40-degree heat. So evolution did something radical. It stripped the fur away and gave us millions of sweat glands instead. We became, essentially, the sweatiest mammal on the planet. And that one upgrade turned us into the greatest endurance runners in the animal kingdom. We could chase prey for hours until it collapsed from heat stroke while we kept going. Hairlessness wasn't a loss, it was a weapon. But here's where it gets interesting. If losing body hair was about cooling down, then why did we keep the hair on top of our head? Think about it. The top of the head is the one spot that takes the most direct sunlight when you're standing upright on the savanna at noon. Of all the places to keep a thick mat of hair, that's actually the smartest one. The hair on your scalp acts like a built-in sunshade, protecting your brain, the most precious and heat-sensitive organ you own, from cooking under the sun. So the pattern starts to make sense. Lose the fur everywhere it traps heat, keep it exactly where it shields the brain. Evolution, as always, being ruthless and clever at the same time. So then what on earth is going on with male pattern baldness? Because that breaks the pattern completely. Why would evolution carefully preserve the hair on top of the head for 2 million years and then let half the male population lose it anyway? And this is where the story splits into two fascinating possibilities. The first is that baldness isn't really about survival at all. It's about signaling. Male pattern baldness is driven by testosterone, specifically a hormone called DHT. And it doesn't usually kick in until a man is well into adulthood, past his peak fighting years, past the age when most ancient men would already have had children. Some researchers think this isn't a bug, it's a signal. A bald or balding head paired with a beard may have been an ancient visual cue that said, I am no longer a young, aggressive rival. I am older. I am experienced. I am someone you listen to, not someone you fight. In a tribal world where status and wisdom mattered enormously, looking like an elder might have been an advantage, not a curse. The bald head, in this view, was the original badge of seniority. The second theory is even stranger: vitamin D. A bald scalp exposed to sunlight produces vitamin D extremely efficiently, far more than a hair-covered one. As humans migrated out of Africa into colder, darker climates with less sun, vitamin D became harder to get. And some researchers suspect that mild baldness in older men may have quietly helped them absorb more of it, supporting bone health, immunity, and survival into old age. A bald head, in this view, wasn't a flaw. It was a solar panel. And then there's the simplest possibility of all, which is that baldness is what scientists call a neutral trait, something that doesn't really hurt your survival, doesn't really help it, and so evolution simply never bothered to weed it out. By the time most men go bald, they've already passed on their genes. Evolution stops caring after that. It's not designing you for old age. It's designing you to reproduce. Everything after that is, in a sense, bonus time. And whatever quirks show up in that bonus time tend to stick around. Now, step back and look at what all of this actually means. Because the real revelation isn't about hair at all. It's about how we see ourselves. We treat baldness today as a problem to be fixed, a flaw, something to hide, transplant, medicate, or be quietly ashamed of. But the bald head you might be staring at in the mirror is, in its own strange way, a fingerprint of 2 million years of human evolution. The cooling adaptation, the savanna run, the migration out of Africa, the hormones that shaped us into hunters and elders and survivors. It's not a malfunction. It's a signature. The ancients didn't see it as something to defeat. They saw it as something to wear. Maybe the strangest thing we've lost isn't our hair. It's the ability to look at our own bodies and see, written right there on the skin, the long, beautiful, ridiculous story of how we became human at all.